What up, what up, what up, world? You already know what time it is. Your boy, man, is the host with the most. Never need to brag, no boast. All we ever did was give a toast to the real folks who done paved the way in the real way for us players to play. I'm parlay this good game for y'all today. Yeah, man. Let me change up my background for y'all. Saying shout out to my Philadelphia Eagles for straight smashing on these fools. The Chiefs, the Cheeks, Kansas City Cheeks. You know what I'm saying? They weren't ready for what we had coming for them, you know what I'm saying? But they have to step back, reevaluate, reassess. And maybe they'll come back next year, but this year we got them. We stopped three-peats, you know what I'm saying? The same thing happened with Brady. Happened over here with us, you know. So, salute everybody out there, man. The Kendrick's show is a great show, bro. The Kendrick's show is a great show, you know. I really enjoyed it. I actually understand where he's coming from when he's doing with the symbolism and everything like that. It shows that the country came a long way, but there's a long way to go, you know. With the red, white, and blue, made up of all black people. Because they know we built this country, you know. Foundational black Americans. Let me rephrase that. You know what I'm saying? You see that there's winners and there's losers. That's life, you know what I'm saying? You win some, you lose some. All you gotta do is regroup and try to come back better, you know? That's what it's all about. In the game of life. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody out there, man. But that was a great Super Bowl, man. I feel like we have the ability to repeat. I mean, we're going back next year, that's for sure. Will we repeat? That's another question. You know what I'm saying? We have President Trump going crazy and all that the day after the Super Bowl with the tariffs and all that, but you know, it's good. It's good. I mean, with the little A chain with the little A that stands for Arbery. Yeah. So there's a lot to be learned. I think Patrick Mahomes is no longer in the conversation who will be the GOAT, you know. There's a lot to be uncovered and conveyed, you know. So the Super Bowl 2025 was a great ending, you know. Against one of the best defenses in the league right there. Now you ask yourself, damn, 34-0? and they're saying our defense is mediocre. Nick Fangio didn't know what he was doing, blah, blah, blah. Well, got me. I mean, it is what it is. I like the fact that Kendrick brought out his GNA. The only gripe I have for that. It's the grift, you know? What they're trying to do is they're trying to make it seem like Drake is the worst thing out there, you know what I'm saying? Which is, I don't really agree with all that, but I'll take it to the next level. So let's check out what people have to say about the Super Bowl. And we're going to chop it up. Shout out to everybody out there. Fair use, fair use. We're going to recap this real quick, real slick. Sheesh. Oh, yeah, and we're about to get a $2 billion Superdome next year, which is going to be nice. It's going to be real nice. You know what I'm saying? Now, after that performance, do y'all really think that Patrick Mahomes is better than my boy Jalen Hurts? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So check this out. Fair use, fair use. Stop scheming and looking hard. Stop scheming and looking hard. Yeah, so let's get it. If it's super slow, I'm gonna
play action pass deep downfield. Hurts to Smitty. And the party was on. Philadelphia, your Super Bowl 59 champions, 40-22. Disbelief for the Kansas City Chiefs. Celebration in Philadelphia. From the doorstep of repeat to unthinkable defeat, the Eagles are your streak stoppers and your champions in Super Bowl 59.
Yeah, we dominated.
All right, let's dive in. Joe Musso, pleased to be alongside my guys, Lige Duzable, Ryan Harris, Emery Hunt. Fellas, You could really come up with your thoughts here at halftime and copy and paste them. Second half, we did see some resistance, but far too little, far too late from the Kansas City Chiefs. We said at half, the group up front, and they should be proud of what they did. Defensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, how pivotal today?
Massive. They essentially, from the very first whistle, set the tone for this game. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. We didn't hear Jalen Carter's name a lot. That's because he was double teamed a lot. Jalen Hunt on the outside because Nolan Smith actually got banged up, missed a few plays. Jalen Hunt came in and had to have a sack. So the dominance, not just in the pass rush game, but in the run game as well. We talked about it, Moose, at halftime. I believe the Chiefs had 3 carries for 3 yards. And I told you that was the key for me in this game. When the Philadelphia Eagles only had 6 or 7 guys in the box, were the Chiefs going to be consistent in trying to run the football? Even when they tried, it didn't amount to much, right? So that was the key. They punished the Chiefs' offensive line, and that's how they won this game.
They out-physicaled them. It was multiple players from different angles, which means that you can't schematically stop it. And then Cooper DeJean's interception. I know it's just one little play, but that put Patrick Mahomes in a place we haven't seen him in a Super Bowl ever. He was gun shy. He wasn't able to make the throw. His eyes were down on the defensive line. That's all you got to say. That is what happened. But Cooper DeJean's early interception for a touchdown really just separated these two teams, and it never became close after that.
And to build further on that, when you go even his name, so that means he was locking down coverage. Quinyon Mitchell, we even called his name because he was locking down coverage and up in the run. Had an interception in the secondary. We just spoke about taking a lot of big plays away. So this was a complete game, dominant game from the defensive side of football for Philadelphia.
A second Lombardi for the city of Philadelphia and for the Eagles as they become the first team since the 1985 Bears to tout a top 2 rushing attack and a top 2 total defense. It really played itself out in this game. And I think you said an important word, Ryan, physicality. That's been the calling card of this Eagles team. But did you expect to see such a lopsidedness in that aspect of this game, the willingness at the point of attack?
Did not expect to see that lopsidedness. And conversely, when these two teams faced off in the last Super Bowl, it was the Chiefs that were knocking the heck out of the Eagles. But clearly the Eagles watched that film, were talked about in terms of the physicality in their meeting rooms. But it wasn't just on defense, fellas. I mean, this was on offense too. The offensive line for the Eagles were dominating all game. Receivers creating separation. That's what you need in big games. They took that task and that challenge to be more physical than the Chiefs who have been here, and they succeeded in it.
Physically dominated on both sides of the ball, offensively, defensively, and the Chiefs usually have the best counter in football, but we didn't see them have counter or an answer there. The big part of what helped them get together offensively on the ground was Jalen Hurts' legs, and then we saw the deep ball as a result. The deep passing game was to be in offense, man. We talked about this at halftime, making the plays that are there to be made. They didn't miss any opportunity to turn the ball over. They, again, out-Chiefs the Chiefs in this contest.
I hesitate to say it, so I'll instead ask it.
Okay.
Is unprepared a fair word to use for this Chiefs team today?
It's a fair question to ask, Moose, because we were talking about this upstairs. We were wondering what Andy Reid was doing, right? You stated it multiple times, Moose, on 3rd and 9. They're running 20. You're not helping Patrick Mahomes out. And to Ryan's point, once you start getting hit as a quarterback, instead of looking down the field, you're looking at the rush. And Patrick Mahomes was looking at rush this entire game. So this game, you know what it reminded me of? Lost versus Tampa Bay Bucks. They got out physical at the line of scrimmage. Their defensive line with Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul got after those tackles, just like Josh Sweat and Jalen Hunt did today, and then Milton Williams from the interior defensive line. So we saw the Chiefs make some adjustments after that. That's when they drafted Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. Now it seems like they have a real issue at the tackle position. Where do they go from here as far as trying to mitigate or fix that issue?
I just didn't like it how they were going to continue to go out there in 3, 4, 5 receiver sets, not help those
My bad, y'all. Technical difficulties. My bad. Let's get this back on the road. Eagles dominate.
Jalen Hurts picked apart the Chiefs in this one.
Perseverance and payback. He was clearly going to persevere through the past loss in the Super Bowl. He said he'd be back. They are back, and they won. He needed a couple pieces around him, but he also made key plays at key moments, running the football, pinpoint passing. That throw to Devontae Smith, that was the dagger. That was the nail in the coffin. But he was ready for that moment. The game wasn't too big for him. He matured in a huge game. I'd be surprised if he's not named the MVP. He played his best. And think about this. The quarterback that Benjamin College got to watch that.
Wow.
And the quarterback that beat him in the Super Bowl previously got to watch him win. That's payback.
Right, only up 7-0. The Chiefs could have had all the momentum, right? He never wandered, right? His confidence didn't lag. You talked about it, Ryan, the big pass plays down the field to Devontae Smith. Even when his defense turned it over for him, the crosser to A.J. Brown, just knowing where to go with the football. But I think the biggest thing that he did is when Steve Spagnuolo continued to send pressure, he had some struggles in the first half, was him being able to get out of some trouble and use his legs and scamper and get first downs on pivotal third downs to keep the offense out there on the field. It was almost like a copy and paste from what he did 2 years ago. He did have the one turnover 2 years ago. He had it this game, but it was the way he responded and bounced back. The pivotal plays on third downs to keep his offense on the field and the big-time throws down the field.
Everyone talks about, oh, well, a quarterback has it, but they can't quantify it. But you know it when you see it. Hurts has it. We've seen it time and time again. A guy that got benched in college, came back, didn't transfer, got better when he got his opportunity, but when they needed him the most, he stepped right into the SEC title game and got them that win against Georgia. Then we saw him go to Oklahoma, finish second in the Heisman Trophy to Joe Burrow, go to the NFL, have to start as a backup. Now he's in the starter, 2 Super Bowls, got a Super Bowl victory. But in this ball game, overcoming the...
And he almost won the last Super Bowl. If y'all don't remember, he almost won that one. You know what I'm saying?
The adversity of throwing the interception. And the biggest thing that I took away from here is that he knew where to go with the football every time. He had an answer for everything that was thrown at him, and he took what the defense gave him. He didn't try to go big game hunting like a lot of quarterbacks do. He really was able to work himself down the field, and then ultimately the big plays came.
From your mouth to their ears, Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts here.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, hey, we made your money tonight.
Baby.
This table made your money tonight.
This
Yeah.
fella's cleaned up. If you were watching pregame, if you weren't, you know where to find us here on CBS Sports HQ. So much more to dig into here. And immediately from, that talking out of the side of the mouth about Jalen Hurts, a lot of that same can be said about the head coach and Nick Sirianni, who they just might have tried to fire again. Not after this one, but it has been up in the air. It has been touch and go at times. And these are the types of days that define careers. What impressed you about, like we said on the other side, the game plan here from Sirianni?
I would say he probably had a lot of pressure after being here 2 years ago, not getting it done, the redemption to get it done this time. And you talked about it, Moose. It was just like every other week they were trying to fire this guy, right? 2 years ago, he goes to the Super Bowl. They start 2-2 this year. They're talking about at the bye, he might get fired. I'm like, this guy's been to the playoffs every single year. You know how many teams would pray to get a coach that takes them to the playoffs every single year? And then we talked about this on the pregame show, the personalities on this team. For him to be the CEO, to keep everybody together. We saw A.J. Brown kind of have a tiff with Jalen Hurts on the sideline. Well, in that next game, A.J. Brown goes for nearly 100 yards, and Jalen Hurts throws for nearly almost 300 yards versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. For him to keep this group together with all the personalities, Jalen Carter, right? Jalen Hurts, who wants the ball, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown. It takes a special head coach to keep all those personalities together for a common goal. And Nick Sirianni proved that he's a really good coach.
It shows you that there's no one way to find a head coach. And everyone coaches differently. And this is his way. It works for that team. Will it work for all 32? Who knows? All the other 31? Who knows? But for Philly, They got the right guy. He was able to strike the right chords and get this team playing on one accord, going in the right direction. So, yes, he's an outstanding head coach.
He's the happiest person in that locker room because if he loses this game, how do you keep a locker room when you lose 2 Super Bowls in 3 years? So now he doesn't have to worry about any of that. Now he's worrying about where he's eating dinner, what time the parade is, and this is the kind of conversation Nick Sirianni wouldn't let himself have until right now. And so for him, there's less worries, more joy, and now more buy-in next year without having to do anything because you're going to be talking about when you're getting your rings.
You know, we had 2 weeks to do it as we're trying to design game scripts that we see victorious on both sides. And it was hard to look at an Eagles game script that didn't have Saquon Barkley totaling something in the triple digits. Finishes with 57 rushing yards and plenty of that coming sort of amassed. I won't call it garbage time, but overtime. It wasn't what they leaned into and still so dominant. How were they able to remain so multiple, Emery, in your eyes offensively today?
Because he's such a dynamic player that you had to account for him as a receiver, which he has some success catching the football, but also his pass pro was where it needed to be. He picked up a couple of key blitzes as well. So he was knocking on the door in all 3 facets in terms of being a complete back in this ball game. And we saw him start to rip off those bigger runs in the second half because he was able to get those 2 or 3 yard gainers in the first half. But I love the fact that they stayed with the rush attempts. The yards weren't there, but they came in the second half, but he was finding success in other ways.
And he attacked the line of scrimmage with physicality every single rep. Sometimes when a running back doesn't get going, they start slowing down, they start moving their shoulders, trying to look for a hole. Not Saquon tonight. He was firing at that line of scrimmage. Even when he wasn't getting the ball in motion, he was moving like he was going to get the ball. That takes the eyes of the defense. He impacted the game in a huge way.
Well, they were able to stay balanced because of what we talked about in pregame, and I said was going to do. But you got to give a shout out to the offensive line because we were talking about this upstairs. There were seconds and was able to throw the ball down the field, and then to Jalen Hurts, to give him credit, there was times when he saw the blitz was coming and knew exactly where to go with the football because Steve Spagnuolo is going to try to speed up your clock every single time. And that's why I think it's a hurdle for Jalen Hurts. And he passed with flying colors, more specifically in that second quarter and in the third quarter. That pass to Devontae Smith was against pressure, right? The pass to A.J. Brown, the offensive line did a really good job picking up the pressure, which allowed him to win on that drag route to score that touchdown. So they were able to be balanced on offense because of the offensive line play and protection, but then also Jalen Hurts knowing exactly where to go with the football.
Got to say, hard to lose when you're playing with this crew, fellas.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic work throughout the night and throughout the season. We are just scratching the surface, just getting started here on CBS Sports HQ. Straight ahead, more coming from Super Bowl City. We'll take you out to New Orleans. We got sights, we've got sounds, we've got it all coming up as we take a look at the Eagles in Super Bowls. They capture a win and an atonement for past sin. They take down the Chiefs in a lopsided Super Bowl win. What a moment for this franchise as we welcome you back into CBS Sports HQ, taking you down to field level where Pete Prisco and Bryant McFadden are joined by quite a guest here, fellas, a Super Bowl champion in Big Play Slay. Mac, what do you got?
Big Play Slay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First and foremost, Super Bowl champion.
Come on now. Put it on my
Big
resume.
Play Slay. How does that sound to you knowing that you're a champion right
Man,
now?
it feel good, man. It took me 12 years to get here, man. I'm so thankful, man. My Lord and Savior, man, he really been doing a blessing on me, man, since I've been, put on this earth. So I'm thankful, man. I'm thankful for my teammates, but man, I'm finna love this.
No question.
You guys didn't really have to do a whole heck of a lot on the back end with that front getting after him a little bit today.
Oh yeah, man. That's what we do. That's what it is, man. Team collective win, man. The front doing their job, and we doing our job on the back, and we made sure that he had easy access to throw to these guys because we want him to get to the second or third read. And that's what we did, and that's why them boys were getting after it, man. Them boys are already up there hunting. And, man, my boy Sweat was out there going crazy the whole D-line. They know, we appreciate them boys.
At what point, now, the game is over, Slay. So I know sometimes when you're prepping for guys, you want to keep things internal.
Yeah.
It's over now.
Yeah, it's over.
What was the game plan coming into this game that you guys felt like you could dominate the great Pat Mahomes, especially with the guys up front? What was the game plan?
To make sure we play 2 plays. With his ability to spin plays every game, we just made sure we play 2. We knew what routes combinations were coming, but what we know watching on film a lot is that when the routes canceled out, you guys do a great job of plastering and finding them. And Mahomes do a great job finding them guys. He did made a great play back in his zone with throwing it to number 1 on the scramble drill. And, he So he got that ability to do all that stuff. So he just made sure, like, hey, stay around him, you know, and just finish plays.
When he had one first down in the first half, he had one first down. He just looked frustrated. Did you notice? Did you see it on his face? Did you see it on their face?
Well, we ain't looking at nobody's face but the team. Our teammates, man. We just look each other in the eye like, let's keep it here. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been there before. 22, we was up going into half at 10, and we know what type of guy he is. So we went done until the clock say 0-0, man. We didn't care how frustrated he was or whatever it had to be. We just went out there and executed.
Big plays. Last question for you. When you look at two individuals that are associated with your team, your head coach Nick Sirianni and your star quarterback Jalen Hurts, oftentimes from the outside it's been criticized, right? What does this say about those two individuals?
Man, that they got leaders, man. You know, it start off for sure with the head coach leading the way. Then with our quarterback, you know, picking it up. They two great individuals, man. Two great individuals, man. Coach do a great job, man. I don't understand how, you know, a coach, maybe want coach gone, but been to the playoffs 4 times since he been here. 2 Super Bowl champion, 2 times. Went to the Super Bowl twice. Yeah. You know, Jalen been a starter, been in the playoffs. So we don't understand the criticism, but I know one thing it do a lot of flu. You know what I'm saying? Them guys are ready to go after.
You hinted that maybe this might be the end for you. You haven't said if it was or not.
No one criticize him because his last name is Hurts.
I can play a lot more, but you know what I'm saying? I just think it's time for me to
And you got one more in Philly.
Got one more in Philly?
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's where I wanted to be. I want to be in Philly, man. I love the city. The city love me.
No question.
Hey, so let's get it rocking.
No question. Super Bowl champion, Darius. I know you want to go find a fam and go party, man. So enjoy yourself.
Congratulations, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one, man.
We appreciate the Eagle captain taking some time
Very
here
slay.
on CBS Sports HQ as we dig deeper with Pete Prisco and the 2-time champ in Bryant McFadden. Fellas, of all the different outcomes, of all the different possibilities that we've mulled over the past 2 weeks, Pete Prisco, is this a thought that even entered your mind?
Never. Did I think the Eagles could win the game? Absolutely. Did I think they would do it in dominant fashion? It's a lesson to anybody out there. We preach it all the time. There's only so many big people who can play this game and play it well, play out on this field.
And talent. The talent in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles that showed up in the first quarter when you look at the young stars, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, veterans like Josh Sweat. Those guys won their one-on-one matchups, and it made the guys in the second and third level, like you said, their jobs were easier because they didn't have to bring any extra hats to put pressure on Pat Mahomes, and that was one of your keys, being able to put relentless pressure on Pat Mahomes, only rushing 4 and dropping everyone back into the throwing lane and minimizing those passing opportunities. They just dominated from start to finish. And I felt like, Joe, when I watched this game and me and Pete, we watched it together, I was waiting for that Pat Mahomes magical moment to kind of surface. Because I said before this game, will we see another slow first half start by the Kansas City Chiefs? Because remember, in the previous 2, we saw that. Pete said, no, we won't. But we saw it, and then I was waiting, Joe. I know you were waiting. It never happened because the sense of urgency was there, and the Eagles, they never took their foot off the gas.
Joe, when you can rush 4 people and 4 people only and get that kind of pressure, you're going to win a lot of football games in the National Football League.
There was an apparent talent disparity here between these two teams, and maybe a disparity in preparation as well. One team comes out with the hair on fire. The other, as you said there, never really got the engine to turn over. But I know you just gave credit to Jalen Hurts with big play Slay and the head coach Nick Sirianni, but that talent deficit that we talk about, maybe that goes one higher here in the job that Howie Roseman did in putting this group together. I want to read you some names that were not there 365 days ago. Saquon Barkley, Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore, Zach Bond, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Mekhi Becton, all first year here with the team and all big parts of this championship DNA. How do you put into words the job, the construction of this group, Pete Prisco?
Howie's done a great job. I mean, look, he's been in the Super Bowl. He's won Super Bowls. But this team, the way it's been structured and the way they put it together, with the offensive and defensive lines being the key to it, that tells you. But you look around, look, Milton Williams, free agent. Josh Sweat, free agent. Got a lot of guys who are free agents. He's got a lot of work to do. But you know what? He put the team together And he did it with the mind being beat people up, and they played bully ball tonight.
All right, Pete, it's just me and you right now. P-Mac, can you go get us A.J. Brown? I'm going to talk with Pete here for a second. You're going to go grab us A.J.?
Hold on, somebody just, I hear you, I can hear you, but I'm looking too, so just know I'm paying attention. But as the player's moving around, I'm trying to circle. But to Pete's point, Howie is like the mad scientist. When you look at him, he looks so innocent and pleasant. But when he's in that meeting room, when he's dissecting film and trying to add talent, he goes into beast mode. Think about the guys you just mentioned, Joe. But think about some of the other guys they drafted and developed. Jalen Hurts of the world, the Josh Sweats of the world, brought in Darius Slade. You look at some of the guys on the offensive line, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Jalen Carter. All of these guys are draft picks. So when you draft right, but most importantly, you develop, you become a solid organization. And that's what we're seeing with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what we've seen over the last few years, and how we have this ability to identify talent, but also get the right individuals in the building to develop talent. Because when you hit on draft picks, you win. When you miss on those hits, you will lose.
And it's a big win here in Super Bowl 59 for the Eagles. A final thought here, Pete. We know Darius Slade just weighed in with what he thought his quarterback meant to this team. But what does this moment mean to this quarterback? Because there's one thing winning a Super Bowl. There's another one taking down what will be an all-time great in Patrick Mahomes. Reminds me of Eli Manning and the wins over Tom Brady. What does this moment mean for the way we say the name Jalen Hurts, Pete?
Yeah, and again, there were a lot of people who still were questioning Jalen Hurts. Remember, on into this playoff run, he wasn't putting up big numbers, and he was holding the football. And people were wondering if he's playing the same type of football. Well, I think he answered those questions tonight out on this field. He was outstanding. He ran the ball. He was precise with his passing. He made one bad throw, bad read. I mean, it was actually a pretty good read. He got a one-on-one. He just made a bad throw. But he played outstanding, deserved to win the MVP, and I think he quieted a lot of critics with his play today. Being able to do what he did on the biggest stage against that guy, that's telling, B-Mac. Joe, I remember about a month and a half ago, we were in the studio, and I addressed some of the fans that were critical on Jalen Hurts. Stop. Jalen Hurts can play football. And the unique thing that I love about Jalen Hurts, even when he's not the catalyst of their success, like when Saquon is taking over, he doesn't complain. He doesn't pout. He's not a distraction. He goes about his business as a professional because he wants to win. But if you need him to get into that fast car and pick up the pace and do numbers, he could do that. He's shown the ability to do that. And one thing about Jalen Hurts, everywhere he's been, he's won. Everywhere he's been, he's won. And he's the catalyst of what this entire team, the mentality is. A selfish group that wants to win and hoist that sticky Lombardi. And Pete, they're holding it right now.
You know what? Think about that. They held Barkley under 3 yards of carry, and it didn't matter. That's how good Jalen Hurts played today.
Well, we appreciate you guys so much. Work to be done, I'm sure, out there for our field producer, Bryant McFadden, who's working the crowd right now. Pete Prisco, 36 Super Bowls, a tip of the cap to you as we hoist another Lombardi here on CBS Sports HQ. Thank you, fellas. That's my guy, B-Mac. That's my guy, B-Mac. Man got on a plane for 20 weeks to come do football with us here on CBS Sports HQ.
Shout out to CBS Sports HQ. Well, yeah, man, that's what it was, It's all about constructing your team around good drafts, You build it up, and then you get the right pieces. You put it all together. Saquon's first year. There's a lot of them that are just first year. So that means it's the beginning of a dynasty. The Eagles are going to come back and win again next year. I mean, shout out to Kendrick Lamar. Came in, did an impressive role for Black folks. prestigious artist. Yeah. So right academia reach the heights that fair use, fair use.
At Drake, referencing the A minor line from Not Like Us, or even Drake's real name, Aubrey. While there's definitely a possibility, if you ask me, I think this is more about Kendrick promoting PG Lang. PG Lang, the company Kendrick started in 2020, specializes in music, film, television, and creative production. If you take a look at their merchandise, they frequently use the letter A, making this seem more like a branded promotion rather than a direct shot at Drake. That being said, I wouldn't put it past Kendrick to include this, knowing people would speculate and tie it back to their beef. But overall, I think this was less about the drama and more about using the big stage in America to push his brand forward. And then we have Serena Williams crip walking, which is so petty but undeniably funny. This moment was, of course, a direct, calculated jab, considering Serena's history with Drizzy. Serena Williams and Drake used to date at one point, for anyone who doesn't know. Their connection first gained traction in August 2015, when paparazzi snapped them getting cozy at a Cincinnati restaurant. Before that, Drake had already been spotted courtside at her tennis matches, fueling speculation. However, things between Serena and Drake eventually soured. The exact reason, well, nobody truly knows. But what we do know is that in 2022, Drake took an unexpected shot at Serena's husband, Alexis Ohanian, on his collab album with 21 Savage, Her Loss. He did this on the track Middle of the Ocean, when he said, "Sidebar Serena, your husband a groupie. He claimed we don't got a problem, but no boo, it is like you coming for sushi." That was a blatant sign of disrespect, not just towards Alexis, but indirectly towards Serena as well. And it was clear that she caught shade. Alexis Ohanian later responded on Twitter, brushing off Drake's comments while proudly embracing his role as a quote-unquote groupie for his wife and daughter. Very respectable man. Fast forward to the Super Bowl, and Serena's playful yet symbolic crip walking during Kendrick Lamar's performance almost felt like a subtle but satisfying clapback for the both of them. I think the deeper context definitely made it hilarious in its own right, whether intentional or not, which it probably was. It was another reminder that hip-hop and pop culture history always finds a way to resurface. So Serena, one of Drake's exes, and they obviously had a fallout. What a better way to send a message on the biggest stage than having her dance or crip walk to what is essentially the national hater anthem against Drake. Also, SZA was up on that stage with Kendrick 9. So there's that. Serena angle layer to this moment. Serena did grow up in Compton before moving to Florida at the age of 9. So not only does she share hometown roots with Kendrick Lamar, but the fact that they came together collectively to embrace a song that openly disses Drake, that's a shot 100%. It almost felt like a full circle moment. Kendrick, the hometown hero, using his Super Bowl performance to take aim at an industry rival, and then Serena, who grew up in Compton, casually hitting the crip walk to the same song right there on national television. Aside from that, we have Kendrick conveniently turning into the camera as soon as he said, "Say Drake, I hear you like him young. Better not go to Cell Block 1." Now that, I don't think there's anything particularly deep about that, but if you guys seen the look on this guy's face when he says that, I ain't really gonna say anything. Just look at this guy's face, bruh. This face has hate a million times written all over it, okay? Now that aside, let's actually go over the real shit now, okay? And this is something you're probably only gonna hear here because nobody breaks this down like me. So how about drop a like on this video for your boy? So most people obviously paid attention to those surface level things like the A-Chain, Serena, and all that. Those things aside, this wasn't just a performance. This so-called performance, okay, this was actually a political statement. The show opened with none other than legendary actor Samuel L. Jackson introducing Kendrick Lamar. But this wasn't just an introduction. Samuel L. Jackson was dressed as Uncle Sam, the well-known symbol which is supposed to represent the US government. So he's a physical embodiment of the government, okay? And that embodies authority, control, which is essentially the same system that Kendrick has been fighting for the entirety of his career, but most importantly of all, life. Kendrick Lamar has spent his entire career being critical of the systems in America that have contributed to so much of the pain Black America has faced. He's never shied away from addressing oppression, economic disparity, and systematic racism in his music. In fact, he dedicated an entire album to these themes in 2015 called Pimp a Butterfly. One of the most striking examples of this is Wesley's Theory, the very first song on the album where Kendrick raps, "Anything to see, my name is Uncle Sam, I'm your dog, motherfucker, you can't live at the mall, I know you're kind, that's why I'm kind, don't have receipts, oh man, that's fine, pay me later, wear those gators, cliche, then say F your haters. Now, this particular song is about the financial traps that have kept Black Americans stuck in a cycle of debt and economic struggle. Kendrick paints a picture of the U.S. government personified as Uncle Sam, luring young black men into a keep them. As intentional as he is, wasn't just referencing the song for nostalgia. His decision to have Samuel L. Jackson dressed as Uncle Sam introduce his Super Bowl performance was a callback to this very idea, reminding us that financial literacy, systematic racism, and the exploitation of black culture are still very relevant conversations today. Wesley's theory is a direct reference to actor Wesley Snipes, who famously went to prison for tax evasion. Kendrick used Snipes' situation as a metaphor for how the system sets up black artists, athletes, and entertainers to fail financially. Wesley Snipes was once one of the biggest actors in Hollywood, but after failing to pay millions in taxes, the American government came down on him hard. While tax evasion is a crime regardless of who commits it, Kendrick's point is that black celebrities are often placed in a financial trap, encouraged to spend recklessly, not given the tools for financial literacy, and then penalized harshly when they make mistakes. Kendrick's message in Wesley's theory is that the system doesn't just allow black success, it profits off of black success while making sure that the wealth never truly stays within the community. The government gives opportunities, loans, and access to luxury, but then punishes those who don't navigate the system correctly. It's a cycle, one that's intentionally designed to keep black people chasing wealth without ever achieving true financial independence. And when you bring this back to the Super Bowl performance, the symbolism becomes even clearer. Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam wasn't just a random creative choice, it was a statement. Kendrick was showing that the same oppressive forces he's been rapping about for years are still at play, even on one of America's biggest stages while he's on that stage. Essentially, Kendrick is saying the same forces that allowed me to get on the stage, the ones that helped me get to my success and wealth, are the same forces still controlling the game while I'm performing on this stage. It's a paradox. Kendrick is saying that, hey, I know that I'm benefiting from the system, but he's also a product of the system's constraints. All right, we're not playing that entire clip, man, because they're trying to get my motherfucking coins out here, bro, and I'm not gonna let that happen. And that's why Samuel L. Jackson, representing the U.S. government, injects himself into the performance by saying, too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. This moment isn't just about performance theatrics. It's a direct critique of how black expression is often policed and commodified. It's the system allowing Kendrick to exist, but only under certain conditions. The message is clear. Be successful, but not too successful. Speak out, but not too loud. Stay in line, play the game, and don't disrupt the system that benefits you. Now, the game he's referring to is the entertainment industry itself. The same industry that uplifts, but of course exploits black artists at the same time. It's the idea that as long as you're making money for the system, you're welcome. But the moment you challenge it too much, you become a problem. Kendrick has played this game masterfully throughout his career. He's managed to critique the system while still thriving within it. But at the Super Bowl, one of the biggest stages in America, he's making it clear. I know exactly what this is, and I know exactly how much freedom I actually have. Now, this is where Drake comes into the picture. Drake is a Canadian guy who, unlike Kendrick, has never been positioned as a revolutionary or a disruptor. He plays the game effortlessly, adapting to every trend, every industry shift, and every cultural moment without ever truly challenging the system. The battle between Kendrick and Drake isn't just about music or raps. Drake, on the other hand, is the artist who thrives within the confines of the system. Drake, for a long time, has represented the industry's favorite artist, marketable, accessible, and not so controversial. Kendrick, on the other hand, represents the people's artist, critical, disruptive, and unwilling to conform. Their rivalry has been painted as just another rap beef, but on a deeper level, it's a clash of ideologies. That's really what it is. So when Kendrick takes on the biggest stage in American entertainment and turns it into a statement against the system, it's not just about Drake. It's what he symbolizes. It's Kendrick reminding the world that the industry rewards those who play the game and silence those who question it. And by performing Not Like Us, he made sure that message was loud and clear. Now, later on, before Kendrick is about to perform Peekaboo, Samuel L. Jackson delivers the line, I see you brought your homeboys with you. The old culture cheat code, scorekeeper, deduct one life. This is more than just a random transition. It's a loaded statement. This moment ties directly into the overarching theme of the performance, the battle between playing the game and challenging the system just enough. I see you brought your homeboys with you. On the surface, it acknowledges Kendrick bringing his team, his culture, and most importantly of all, his people to the stage. But coming from Samuel L. Jackson, who's playing Uncle Sam, the symbol of the US government and the industry's power, it carries a condescending tone. It suggests that Kendrick is leaning on the strength of his roots, his community, and black culture to make an impact. It's almost as if Uncle Sam is saying, oh, so you're using your people, your authenticity, your blackness as a way in? And it's funny because blackness is literally the source of everything in the entertainment industry. Music, style, culture. But when it comes to the image that the industry wants to represent, it's often watered down, controlled, or repackaged to be more digestible for mainstream audiences. Hip-hop, R&B, and black culture as a whole have shaped every major movement in music and entertainment. Yet the industry has historically treated black artists as both the foundation and the afterthought. Black artists are expected to innovate, set trends, and define culture. But when they become too outspoken or too disruptive or too unapologetically black, they're met with resistance. And this is that resistance at play. When Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam dismisses Kendrick's authenticity as just a cultural cheat code, it reflects how the industry uses black culture while trying to control who gets to profit from it. So this could be a subtle dig at how the industry exploits black culture, allowing like this. There's a strong argument that this was a direct reference to the KKK and the idea of America. All the dancers dressed in white, moving in unity, while Kendrick performs a song that directly calls out Drake, who's supposed to represent the system. That visual alone is very symbolic. The Ku Klux Klan, also known as the KKK, is known for wearing white robes, representing white supremacy, oppression, and the same systematic racism Kendrick has been speaking out against his entire career. And let's not forget that hip-hop has been calling out America from Ice Cube to Tupac, and now Kendrick is continuing that tradition on one of the biggest stages in America. This could also be a reference to Colin Kaepernick. The NFL has a complicated history with race, from how the Colin Kaepernick situation played out to the way black artists have been selectively allowed to perform on certain stages. And yet Kendrick gets up there and flips the entire thing into a critique of the system itself. It's almost like he's saying, look, I know what country this is, I know how this game is played, and I know exactly where we stand. Now, right before Kendrick is about to perform Not Like Us, Samuel L. Jackson delivers another loaded line.
That's what America wants.
So we're gonna have to cut that short because copyright is beating my fucking ass right now, bro. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what America wants. Nice and calm. You're almost there. Don't miss this. And before he can even finish, Kendrick cuts him off, launching straight into Not Like Us. So this moment wasn't just theatrical. Now, this moment wasn't just theatrical. It was symbolic. It was the system quite literally being interrupted. Samuel L. Jackson, still playing the role of Uncle Sam, the government, the establishment, the industry, is essentially telling Kendrick, this is what we want from you, something safe, something that doesn't challenge us. You're almost where we want you. Stay in line and don't ruin it. But Kendrick doesn't let him finish. Instead, he shuts him completely down and jumps straight into Not Like Us, arguably the most rebellious moment of the entire show. And that right there, that's the perfect representation of how America has always tried to police black voices. The government has a history of suppressing outspoken black figures, whether through censorship, blackballing, or outright violence. The entertainment industry has a habit of rewarding black artists only when they play by the rules and punish those who challenge the system. The media often tries to dictate how black artists should behave, expecting them to be nice and calm rather than unapologetic and disruptive, because when other groups of people speak up, it's standing up for what's right. But when black people speak up, suddenly label needs to be controlled. But Kendrick isn't here to be controlled. The second Uncle Sam tries to contain by out aggressive self and does the very thing they don't want him to do. And then to top it all off, they mean I think there are two major layers to why Kendrick chose to end this performance with this song. First of all, it's definitely a universal message to everyone. In a world where people are constantly fed media narratives, propaganda, and distractions, Kendrick is telling the audience to wake up. The Super Bowl is one of the biggest spectacles in America. Corporations spend billions just to have a commercial slot because they know the whole world is watching. The game, the halftime show, the ads, it's all a distraction from real life issues that don't go away once the TV is off.
And that's why they lost 1.3 million viewers after that performance. They lost 1.3 million viewers after that performance. Can you believe that shit? It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So let's be honest. It's a bunch of bullshit. You know? $1.3 million viewers. They said, yo, turning this TV off. F this. I ain't got time for this bullshit. So what do y'all think? Y'all think that halftime show was on par with Michael Jackson's? Y'all let me know. I don't think so. Yeah. So Big Meech finally responded about these allegations, false accusations. Yeah, it's some bullshit. Where he has to talk about this while he's on parole and all that. But hey, it is what it is. And pull it up. So it was basically Big Meat spoke and 57 responded, right? Big Meat said, his death before the sign of never regret, never folded, never will. So what does that tell y'all? It was by a certain code, right? Certain credence. For people to just throw him under the bus off some bullshit that they hear from people that are questionable themselves. But you know, That's just the way it goes, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to pros. So hold up, y'all, hold up. Dang. There's something I want to show y'all, but I can't find it right now. Ain't that a bitch? Once I find it, I'm gonna show it to y'all. This is him speaking on the whole situation. Shout out to everybody out there. Fair Use Act. You know? We gonna take care of business. We gonna take care of business. That shit slow them up. God dang.
I knew it, bro. It was only so long he could try to play the mature role and not get on the internet, bro. I tell y'all all the time, bro. The internet is bigger than what people think. No matter how much you don't respond, the more they bash it, whatever the internet at the end of the day, image to protect. And I ain't played it to 50 from the troll. It ain't from the sad situation. Man, what is good, YouTube? Y'all already? Y'all, we got a crazy and wild video. Big Meech on the roster. Yes, y'all. Big Meech is finally on the roster. He has finally responded to 50 claims. For one, you can be notified anytime I drop a video, and I can also just keep y'all updated on this situation. As I said, bro, we got Big Meech on the roster. Yes, y'all, we got the BMF on the Big Meech on the roster. He finally responded to social media. Now, if y'all don't know what's going on, 50 has been on his neck within his last week for whatever reason. Now, it all started for Meech taking a picture with Ray Ross, and And ever since then, 50 kind of been going at it with Big Meech. He done counseled BMF. He done went off on his son. And he went on to call Big Meech a rat. Now, he went on to call him Little Screech and said that, pretty much Tammy Cohen's, which was a cooperator in the whole case, allegedly was a cooperator, but it was stuck there. Big Meech saying he was just saying don't attack his name to any document. Like, he been trying to expose all on social media, a rat. But it seems like today Big Meech responded and he sent 50 Cent a message.
I wasn't going to address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family to come out to the Amarant Arena, February 13th.
Now, as y'all see, he went on to say that he wasn't even going to address it. You feel what I'm saying? He went on to say that, he's not going to let nobody trick him off the internet, but went on to say he never folded, he never told, and death before dishonor. Now, y'all know Big Meech them allegedly was the guy that stood real tall on that. Like, they even had the popular picture where the guy was like this, like the hear no, see no, fear no, like the don't say nothing basically in jail. But it seems like, 50 was trying to call him a rat. Now, it's crazy because not only did, Big Meech finally respond after all these days of not responding, a guy that goes by the name of 42 Dub, which Big Meech is, I think he cool Big Meech. I think he might have visited Big Meech too, but, he's a rapper from Detroit. He also went on to say something too. I think that guys in Detroit story and sent 50 a message that said, I'm so tired of the he say, she say, show us the paperwork that's going to end everything. Any deal made through cooperation has to be in there. Either she got it in hers or he got it in his. Saying that, pretty much if he is talking about this man and he had his son put in acting classes and he did all this good stuff, but the moment, he found out, that Rick Ross is being cool with him and all that, now he want to call him a rat. But it's like, was he a rat when you was making a TV show? Did you just find out he was allegedly a rat? Like, I don't get it. It just kind of flip-flopped to me and it kind of throw me off. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, bro. 50 is trolling, and he's still trolling to this day. He even went on to reveal some more things and pretty much showing a little more evidence that Meech allegedly ratted. It's just, at this point, bro, it's getting on, and I ain't gonna lie.
The agent testified that Demetrius Flannery was aware of the deal and that Demetrius had one request, and that his name does not appear in any documents. This was Special Agent Keith Cromer's testimony. CS1 testified, Tammy Collins, that Demetrius Flannery was aware. She signed to be a government informant to give Demetrius Flannery a time cut. She had the courtroom clear it out. If you go on Pacer, pull my docket sheet, you'll see where CS1 requested that the courtroom be closed.
Got you. Let me ask you a question, Cuffy. At any time during the initial stages of your indictment involving this whole Tammy Collins thing, did you talk to Big Meech or did you send a message to Big Meech in any way to tell him or to alert him of what was going on?
We sent Big Meech certified mail. Big Meech set me up and Tammy set me up with this thing in 2013. That's the last time I've heard from this nigga. We sent them correspondence through the attorneys, asking him, is he aware that his name is in court sworn documents and sending me a truckload of cocaine? He never responded. We know he got the mail because we sent everything certified. I have not heard from this nigga of 32 years since they set me up in 2013.
So what in the fuck is all these? So right now, some of the most well-known members of BMF, like J-Bo, for example, J-Bo, he is strangely, suspiciously silent about all these facts that are coming out. I believe J-Bo is from St. Louis, isn't he?
He is.
Okay.
He is.
What's your relationship with him?
You know, I never knew J-Bo. He was cool with my little brother.
What did you just say?
Right now, some of the most well-known members of BMF, like J-Bo, for example, J-Bo, he is strangely about all these facts that are coming out. I believe J-Bo is from St. Louis, isn't he?
He is. Okay. He is.
What's your relationship with him?
You know, I never knew J-Bo. He was cool with my little brother, Magic, or Wani. He passed on the first BMF indictment.
Got you.
So I never, but that's a hell of a question, man. When he got home, I think around 2018, I personally told him what the nigga did to me.
Right.
And the exact words were, man, you sure, huh? You sure, big homie? I said, listen, man, I'm telling you the nigga bad news, homie. This is what I'm telling you, man. So the nigga parted with me with these words with that, I got to holler at the homie, man. He got to explain this. My words to him were, how can you explain this, homie? How can you explain this? So I never came out until 2018,
right? Until
I got black and white. See, I never knew this nigga rolled.
As y'all see, he done dropped the whole 3 minutes.
So what in the fuck members of BMF like J-Bo, for example? J-Bo, he is.
It's the last time I've heard from this nigga. We sent them correspondence.
Tell him or to alert him of what was going on.
We sent Big Meech certified mail. Big Meech set me up, and Tammy set me up with this thing in 2013. That's the last time I've heard from this nigga. We sent them correspondence through the attorneys, asking him, is he aware that his name is in court sworn documents, and sending me a truckload of cocaine. He never responded. We know he got the mail because we sent everything certified. I have not heard from this nigga of 32 years since they set me up in 2013. Sent everything certified. I have not heard from this nigga of 32 years since they set me up in 2013. Attorneys asking him, is he aware that his name is in court sworn documents and sending me a truckload of cocaine? He never responded. We know he got the mail because we sent everything certified. I this nigga of 32 years since they set me up in 2013.
The hell did you just say?
At any time during the initial stages of your indictment involving this whole Tammy Commons thing, did you talk to Big Meech or did you send a message to Big Meech in any way to tell him or to alert him of what was going on?
We sent Big Meech certified mail. Big Meech set me up and Tammy set me up with this thing in 2013. That's the last time I've heard from this nigga. We sent them correspondence through the attorneys, asking him, is he aware that his name is in court sworn documents and sending me a truckload of cocaine? He never responded. We know he got the mail because we sent everything certified. I have not heard from this nigga of 32 years since they set me up in 2013.
So what in the fuck well-known members of BMF like J-Bo, for example?
They set me up in 2013. In court sworn documents and sending me a truckload of cocaine. Never responded. We know he got the mail because we sent everything certified. I have not heard from this nigga of 32 years since they set me up in 2013.
So what some of the most well-known members of BMF like J-Bo, for example, J-Bo, he is strangely, suspiciously silent about all these facts that are coming out. I believe J-Bo is from St. Louis, isn't he?
He is.
Okay.
He is.
So what in the fuck?
Ask him, or is he aware that his name is in court sworn documents and sending me a truckload of cocaine? He never responded. We know he got the mail because we sent everything certified. I have not heard from this nigga of 32 years since they set me up in 2013.
Why are you gonna send the boy that? If somebody says, yo, your name is in documents, somebody say your name is in documents, what we're supposed to say right back? Oh yeah? Thanks, man. I'll look into it. Like, what do you expect him to write back? But if it was his mind for a long time, then that's a different story. But if they are falling out, you never know over what. But if he's sending you a court order document with a lawyer on it, then it makes it look like you're trying to say the man's trying to rig at or something. That's not right. So, as a man, you can't just throw a jacket on that, on a person like that, without black and white. So it's kind of like you're using him as a scapegoat. At the same time, there were no onus on the chick. It's kind of whack. You know what I'm saying? So, Meech, it's always going to come on the wash, you know, and the rinse. You dig? Shout out to Big Meech, though. He's doing his thing. Now, this dude is back. First he was saying Meech was a rap. I think he changed his tune now. Shout out to Sean G.
Sean Xavier gonna be seeing you. Do we wish?
I've seen him plastered all over the place. So I'm like, okay. He knows what he's doing. Get this channel out there, but does he really read the paperwork properly? I think now he came to his senses, you know, because he seems like a sensible man.
To defame, libel, slander, or hurt anybody with the content of this video. Everything that I will be saying in this video will be coming from public information, which is court documents relating to the United States of America versus Dion Gatlin, who goes by the name in the streets of St. Louis as Cuffy. And this is related to the Tammy Cowens and the Big Meech case and that whole thing. So I want to thank everybody that has subscribed. Appreciate you. Make sure you go follow me on my Instagram, same name, Podcast with Soul. Check me out on Facebook. It's my full name, Sean Gumby. And thank you in advance. And please leave a comment. All right, so point of information right off the top before I get into the remainder of the direct examination of Tammy Cowens, who's on the stand, testifying under oath on the stand at the Franks hearing, which took place October 17th, 2016. 2016 at the request of Deion Gatlin or Cuffy. Point of information right off the rip that I talked about yesterday. Yesterday, I put up a video where I talked about Tammy Cowens on the stand testified that she was asking the special agent in charge at that point, who was Keith Cromer in Atlanta, who had just got handed over to Keith Cromer by her former handler, DEA agent Jack Harvey. Now, if you read the paperwork, and I said this yesterday, when she was getting directly examined, when she was under direct examination by the United States government, by the U.S. Attorney Dean Hogue, she was asked, he said something to the effect of this, the attorney for the United States. When Jack Harvey retired, how soon after did you get introduced to Keith next day? So after Harvey retires, he turns her over to Keith Cromer, who calls her the next day and begins to ask her, stay on board with us. You did such a fantastic job with Jack Harvey and taking down Terry White. We want you to stay on board. We got some work for you. So she asked Keith Cromer, well, what am I going to do? And he begins to tell her, she says, well, what would I do? And can I make, if I bring in something big, and Keith Cromer interrupts her before she can finish, Keith Cromer says, you'll make a lot of money. And then her very next thing is, can I get Demetrius Flannery a time cut? And then he responds saying, we can work on that, or we can look into that, something to that effect, right? Now, this is what's key about that. This is the first day that she meets the new agent, her new handler. This is the first day she meets him. This ain't like down the line, 7 months in, 4 months in, a year and some change in. She comes to him like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Can I get Demetrius Flannery's time cut? She says it right off the rip on the first day she meets him, right? Just keep that in mind. Now, where I left off yesterday, and if I didn't leave off yesterday, this is where I'm going to pick up today. And for your information, I locked my cat in the bathroom, so we ain't got to worry about Luna running around in the shot, jumping up on the radiator. And I'm going to introduce y'all to Luna one day. So she's still on the stand getting direct examined by the United States government attorney, Dean Hogue. And we get to the point where her name and her address and her job gets made public through the paperwork published online that the world can see, right? And anything, all of this paperwork and all of the paperwork that I've gone through is public information, okay? So now she starts to get threats, phone calls, people showing up at her house, calling her phone, asking her, how does it feel to be a paid informant? You dead? You understand? And she sees the or somebody, and people start to call her, people that knew her, saying, "You all right? You okay?" And she's like, "What?" And then they explain to her. So she sees it, and she sees it, and she starts calling everybody to try to get this information taken down, right? So this is the government questioning her. And in March 2015, this is page 81 of 72. Excuse me, page 81 of 271 pages. This is the Franks hearing, volume 1. And in March 2015, okay, do you remember what they were, or can you generally tell us what they were? It was just statements of the case, and it was from, I think, Cuff's lawyer, Dion Gatlin's lawyer. And it was exposing me and my employment at the time and the address. And I was furious. So you went online, this is the lawyer, to look at this, and it's pleading basically, your name is in it, and my address is in it, right? So what she does is she immediately gets on the phone with the St. Louis DEA, trying to get in touch with them and tell them, like, yo, what y'all doing, man? What y'all doing? Y'all got my name on this joint, and you know I'm a confidential informant. She couldn't call Keith Crum at this time because she was no longer dealing with him, right? So she's dealing with 2 other agents. She's calling them. Nobody's answering the phone. She's leaving messages. And she says about 3 or 4 days later, could be sooner, she's not hearing nothing. So she calls the judge. She calls the judge and speaks to the judge's assistant. And this is what she says. This is crazy. I'm getting messages and calls in regards to this, and my name is in something that, you know, I'm in fear for my life. At the time, I said for something that I shouldn't be, and I wanted to talk to the judge. I got the name off the documents, the paperwork, and she said, let me have someone call you back. So this guy calls her back, and the dude who calls her back, right? A dude by the name of Matthew Drake calls her back, and he's on the phone with her defending the DEA, right? He ain't trying to take it down. You understand? So she gets upset. She calls Cuffy's old attorney. By this time, Cuffy's got a new attorney. She calls the old attorney that Cuffy had when the initial statements were made, the affidavit, the sworn affidavit, and the likes, right? So, and she begins, now this is where, check this out. She gets on the phone with Cuffy's old attorney, right? And she says this to him, not to the attorney himself, but to one of his associates. And I'm not going to give the name, it's in the paperwork. I said that my name is in something and you guys are exposing me for something, and you haven't even had a discussion with me, and I'm furious about it. You exposed the company I was at that time and all of this information. And some of this stuff is just not true. Now, mind you, point in fact, this Franks hearing is October 17th, 2016. This is after, according to the sworn affidavit she signed, where she went to meet with Big Meech, and she spoke to him in 2015 after everything starts to unravel. Her sexual escapade with Keith Cromer comes out, and he tells her, I don't want my name caught up in this mess, right? But prior to that, we already went over what she stated, which was that Big Meech put her in touch with Suarez and Cuffy. Now, and said some of this, that the attorney for the government is leading her to the water to drink, right? Not giving her, not letting her from her knowledge of truth. It's like he's leading her where he wants her to go, right? And later on in the direct examination, one of the attorneys for one of the other defendants objects. He steps up. He says, Your Honor, I know there's no jury here, but the counsel for the government is leading the witness instead of just letting the witness talk. And the judge just agrees. Okay. Now, the attorney for the government asks her, now, the information, all right, that you talked to him about, what, if any, information was it that upset you aside from your name being in the paperwork, right? And here's her answer. The Demetrius Flannery portion, because he didn't Now, I'm going off memory of the paperwork. I went to Atlanta office to turn Cuff in, and I talked to agents to turn him over. Like, this is not even a coherent sentence, right? This is not even a coherent sentence. And in between each thought, there's dash, dash, which I don't know what that means, but I can infer from, she spoke about 4 different things in one sentence, and neither of them correlated to what was said prior or after. Let's read that again. Now, the information, all right, that you talked to him about, what, if any, information was it that upset you aside from your name being in the paperwork? Here's her answer, CS1. The Demetrius Flannery portion, because he didn't, space, it could be like, now I'm going off memory of the paperwork, is that I went to Atlanta to seek money, dash, dash. I went to Atlanta office to turn Cuff in, and I talked to agents to turn him over. This is on page 84 of 271, line item 11 through 17. And he says, and that didn't occur? She says, that didn't occur. You've already told us how it was with Mr. Cromer. Correct. You see how he led her? You've already told us how it was with Mr. Cromer. Instead of saying, well, how was it? How did what you just said happen? And she would have said through Keith Cromer. But by this time, Keith Cromer is the perfect scapegoat. The nigga is under investigation with the Office of Inspector General. He's under investigation for Office of Professional Responsibility. You know, 2 of his underlings are also under investigation. He's getting ready to get fired. He's the perfect scapegoat. He's already acted outside of the bounds of his duty and having sex with a confidential informant in the middle of an investigation. So blame it on my man. He the perfect joint. Now, let's keep going. You've already told us how it was with Mr. Cromer. Correct. He is the attorney and the investigation, and that's how it started, and that's how it went, meaning how the investigation started. Let me read that again. And the investigation, and that's how it started, and that's how it went. And you felt that that was a mischaracterization. It also indicated Mr. Flannery of Big Meech was the organizer or leader of that. And you don't believe that. You don't think that's true. This is the attorney for the government. You understand? And she's correct. There was some conversation with you and Mr. Suarez, okay, where he mentioned Meech or Buddy, meaning he called Meech Buddy. But aside from that, he wasn't the one initiating the contact. She says that is correct. That is between Suarez and Gatlin or Cuffy. And she says, and myself was setting it up. That is correct. And the attorney for the government says, that's my next question. In effect, really, you were the one that set up the that conversation or those conversations. And she says, that is correct. And then he says, the attorney, all right. And so you were upset with the interpretation that the agents took about the information regarding Mr. Flannery or Big Meech. Is that fair to say? And she says, excuse me, that is correct. Because he didn't have anything to do with anything. So correct. Meaning that Big Meech didn't have anything to do with anything. That Big Meech did not set up Suarez and Cuffy. This is what she's saying under oath on the stand, but she's a witness to the government. So that's an interesting point. Now, based on that, let's look at this. This happens under the same direct examination a few minutes before. This is how she contradicts herself. So the government asks her, Gatlin and Mr. Suarez, where did the conversation turn to narcotics or drugs? Or he's saying that's when it, hold on, let me put that down because I want to get this right. I don't want to be wrong. You got to be right, man. Okay, now, did there come a time in your relationship with Mr. Gatlin and Mr. Suarez where the conversation turned to narcotics and drugs? She says, yes. Approximately, when was that time? She says, I would say 2000 mid-year 2012. Okay, all right. And in 2012, how did that conversation begin? What was it that precipitated that conversation? This is what the government is asking. Hold on now. Put that up. So we get the good light. Get the good light on the brother. She answers, well, the initiation was Fidel Suarez. He called and made some conversation about he needed to get rid of some type of pills. And I did know somebody that wanted to buy them. I was in a call with Keith Cromer at the time on the speaker in my car. And Keith said, tell him yes. Meaning, yeah, you know somebody that want to buy pills. And shortly thereafter, I received a call from an agent in California. And that's how it started off transpiring from Fidel. Now, the government asked her this next question after this. Okay, was there ever a time when you were asked to, what were the circumstances of that information? Meaning, when? Who told you to get in touch with Fidel? What? Was there ever a time when you were asked to give a phone number to Fidel? Who told you to give a phone number to Fidel? Who? What were the circumstances of that information? She says, well, a couple times when I asked to give, no. Well, a couple times when I was asked to give Fidel called and asked for Cuff's number. Then the government asks, did he say who? Tammy Cowan says, he said, Buddy told me to get Cuff's phone number and I gave him Cuff's phone number. Now, we've already determined that the lawyer for the government already mentioned there was some conversation with you and Mr. Suarez, okay, where he mentioned Meech or Buddy. The government asked her, who is Buddy, for the record? I'm assuming he's speaking of Demetrius Flannery. So you've known him by that name, correct? Well, when he says Buddy, as he calls, yes. And did you do that? Yes, I did. So she says this 15 minutes before she turns around and said, not even 15 minutes, maybe 7-8 minutes after she turns around and says that, you know, everything was wrong and Meech had nothing to do with it. But here, you can read this. This is page 63 of 271. Read that page 63, 271. You can read the whole page. So she has backtracked and now is saying that Meech had nothing to do with it. Okay, this is the paperwork. This is not me. You know, full disclosure.